Meteorologist Joe Bastardi, Saturday summary. First of all, I'll start off by saying Tom is one of our most loyal subscribers, and we're just praying that he gets well. And I just want to say that, Tom, get well. We got a big winter coming up. That's why I'm starting showing you some snow cover over here. And the other people that are watching can see the snow cover too in the Texas Panhandle. We got a big winter coming up, and it's not the same without Tom going full blast on our site. And you, other folks who don't have premium yet, should upgrade to premium because it is an interesting winter coming along. We've got that positive IOD. Interesting stuff. I'll explain that in a moment. All right, this was a Texas Panhandle about 2 hours after sunrise. And this is at like 2 o'clock this afternoon their time. That's the snow melting, okay? Further east melting is Oklahoma's national title hopes. Although, I mean, they could play this. I guess they could play their way in. Well, wait a minute. We only have 4 teams. So, you know, if it comes down to Oklahoma with 1 loss and Notre Dame with 1 loss, I wonder who's going to get in. Of course, as much as well, I don't dislike Notre Dame anymore. I used to really dislike them. And I'll tell you why. Because we'd be playing Notre Dame here at Penn State, and half the crowd would be, all of a sudden, Penn State fans would turn around and be Notre Dame fans. In fact, Mrs. Paterno once said that to me. She said, how is it that we're decked in blue and white? This was back in the 80s all the time. Notre Dame comes in here, and half the crowd is decked in Notre Dame colors. And it's just, so I was very jealous of Notre Dame for years. But I've been out there a few times and spoken out there a few times. It's a beautiful school. So I don't want any Notre Dame people mad at me. Michigan people are already mad at me because I went to Penn State. I mean, that's natural. I understand. All right, let's get to the weather. This is a 5-day GEFS means at 500 millibars. Here's this big trough in the west. And I believe last week we mentioned that this trough plummeting down in here is going to lead to very high winds in California. So this is no surprise what's going on there. But the trough is going to kick out in the means. I'll show you that in just a moment. We look at the temperatures. Unbelievable cold in the western part of the United States. Central Plains coming up day 1 through 6. Denver has already had their October. We had speak Joe 9 degrees back on October 13th, which was 9 degrees lower than the previous cold so early for that date. They're liable to hit 0 before the month's done because it's going to snow a lot out here. It's going to snow in the plains, snow up into Wisconsin, and even more misery if you're a Wisconsin fan. We're on a Big Ten tour this afternoon, folks. Big Ten and Big 12. So you folks in Wisconsin, if it wasn't bad enough that, you know, the Ohio State thing today, and I actually thought Wisconsin could pull the upset, which obviously that didn't happen. But in any case, there's going to be a couple of big storms coming through there. So you see the warmth in the southeast. Want to deal with our friends in Europe? Winter's coming early to Europe this year. Looks like a cool November, cooler than normal. Here's day 1 through 6 in Europe. We get out to 6 to 11, and you can see the trough has shifted east, and we have this deep trough northwest of Hawaii, and these positives up here funnel cold air into the United States. So cold air is going to keep coming, even if the ridge is going to try to resist. We see the 6 to 11 day temperatures below normal, centered in the heartland, and that would be the first 5 days of November. And here's Europe. And so Europe, they just had a miserable spring and hardly any summer over here, relatively speaking. And it looks like it's repeating itself again. And here we are in the 11 to 16. And again, you key on this. This is going to keep putting cold air into the United States, even though the ridge may resist. It's actually a pretty stormy cold pattern that is shaping up down the road here, first 10 days of November, relative to the time of the year. Here's your temperatures, day 11 through 16. And in Europe, it looks like this. Now, here's the European model, which you can get on our premium site. All right. Has much more generous with the snow coming up, much more generous. They agree on Denver, but the Euro is really cranking Nebraska into Wisconsin here. And snow, for instance, Amarillo the other morning hit 21. That's their coldest so early in the season. You get snow on the ground with these cold air masses, Arctic air masses coming in, you're going to break record low temperatures, and that's what's going to happen. Here's the precipitation over the next 16 days, and this is key because when you see it get wet in October into November, this area of the country, usually it's a sign of a cold winter in the eastern and central part of the United States because it's indicative of the fact that you're getting a lot of fighting going on here, and that may be hinting at the winter trough. And we expect it to set up near the Great Lakes, especially for January, February, March. I think December is warm along the eastern seaboard, but I think that you're going to find that January, February, March may be the highlight of the cold this winter. Central Plains, you'd see it evolve out of the plains. I'll get to that in just a moment. We have a positive Indian Ocean dipole. What is that? That's when it's warm in the western Indian Ocean, cool here. Now, when that happens, there's usually an El Nino, but the El Nino has faded away. But there have been 3 years, 1961, 83, 2012, when we had a positive Indian Ocean dipole without an El Nino. And we also have sea surface temperatures. See the sea surface temperatures? Right, okay, there's the positive Indian, warm, cool over here. See that sea surface temperature so warm there? That's very similar to 2013, 2014. Warm western Indian Ocean, a little bit cooler to the east, warm here, warm off the eastern seaboard. So what did November in those years look like? If you get those 5 years, 61, 83, 2012, 13, 14, that's what November wound up looking like. And then December was warmer along the eastern seaboard, and then January, February, March turned cold, all right, overall. So now this is what it looked like those years. Now look what the CFSV2 looks like right now for November. Now you say, well, why wouldn't it if it looked like that? But let's speak, Joe. Every once in a while I get tongue-tied over here, which is not very good for me, all right? If I can't talk, then I'm just like useless. But, okay, 10 days ago or 20 days ago, it looked like this. It was indicating a very warm November for the country. So the model is going toward what the analog. And what we do is we show our clients this stuff, like we were selling it back in September, saying, look, if we have this positive Indian Ocean dipole, you better look out for it getting cool in November. And so that's where our forecast is going for November. But there will be a reason for it because we are lined up with what we have seen before, right? So that's what we do. We look at these past years, line them up, adjust to the current conditions, and see if we can come up with the answer. And that is the latest answer. And just remember, a couple weeks ago, it looked like this. All right, that's it for now. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.